That's, yeah. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to your June the 5th, 2018 Johnston County Public Schools Board of Education meeting. We have 100% attendance of our board members today, and we'll kick off this meeting with the invocation by Todd Sutton and the Pledge of Allegiance by Teresa Grant. May we all stand, please.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the many blessings you've given us, Lord. Lord, we just thank you for this school system and what it means to over 36,000 students and over 5,000 staff members, Lord. Lord, we know that sometimes we may not, people may not feel like we're doing the right things, Lord, but I truly believe our hearts are in the right spot. And that's for every student and staff member that's a part of this county. Their safety, the knowledge that they learn on a daily basis is what we strive to make sure that they have. Lord, I just thank you for each and every one that takes a part in Johnston County Public Schools on a daily basis. I just pray that you continue to bless each and every one of them. Lord, as we come to the summer, I pray that you have a hedge of protection around each and every one of them, Lord, that they come back to us in the fall if they haven't graduated, Lord, and come back to work. And Lord, we can continue to strive to do the very best for these students and give them an opportunity that when they graduate from Johnston County Public Schools, they're better off in the workplace, college, but more especially life. Lord, I just thank you for each and every one of these board members, what they mean to the school system, Dr. Renfro and his staff. Lord, but I just ask that right now we just have a special blessing over all the graduates of Johnston County Public Schools. Lord, they're in their life in general, whether it be military, college, work. Lord, I just ask that you be with them and their parents as they make these decisions that may carry them through the rest of their life. But more especially, Lord, they understand what it means to graduate from a Johnston County public school. Lord, thank you in advance for what we're going to do today. God bless in each and every one of our graduates. Thank all the high school teachers and staff as they've prepared these graduates for their life to come. Lord, thank you again for everything you do for us. In your loving name we do pray. Amen.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. There's no public comments today, so we'll move on to approval of the May the 9th, 2018 regular session minutes. You've had those minutes. I entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Motion by Ronald Johnston, second by Todd Sutton. Any questions on the minutes? If not, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Discussion and adjustment to agenda, starting with Todd Sutton. Ms. Grant?
No, sir.
Vice Chair Johnson?
No, sir.
Mr. Hall? Thank you. No adjustments. Entertain a motion to approve the current agenda. Vice Chair Johnson. Motion by Ronald Johnson. Second by Teresa Grant. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Comments from the chair and board members, starting with Todd Sutton.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. It's been seems like yesterday we were back in here, but it's been a short month. But I'm going to be very short today and just wish all of our high school graduates congratulations on a job well done. And I pray that your endeavors are successful for whatever you may have in the near future. But I do want to end with this. I was able to stop at North Johnston Middle School this morning and have coffee with Panther Perks. And talking to Dr. Williams, I heard a great story about Panther Academy. And, you know, we've had a lot of different discussions about the academy across the county, but this one individual quit school a year and a half ago. and came back in this past fall, about October, November. He was only 2 credits short of graduating from high school. Dr. Williams worked with him and put him in Panther Academy. When he could get there with a ride, he did his work. And based on self-paced, it was something that was sustainable for him and also something that he could work towards. And he saw the goal. And it brought chills to me to hear that this student is going to graduate from North Johnston High School through the Panther Academy this week. But here's the real thing. He is the first person in his family to graduate from high school. I commend everybody that does the academies across our county. It does work. It is a true success. And this is only one of many success stories that's out there through our academies. So that is just an awesome thing to end with right here with these graduates. And thankful for all the high school principals that have put these in place and continue to have students at the front of their success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. Ms. Grant?
I got to share my love for chemistry at Micro Career Day. It was nice to have some elementary school students that were interested in chemistry. Love the school nutrition banquet. That's always a really fun banquet every year. I attended the past principal's dedication at North Johnston High School and was not anticipating that being such a touching dedication. The accolades of our esteemed board member Butler Hall and our superintendent Ross Renfro. Both those really brought tears to my eyes. It was really neat to see how this community of principals were so knit together in their careers along the way to their pathway to become principals. It was just such a neat thing to watch. I joined Dr. Price at the Boys and Girls Club end-of-year celebration, and couldn't get him out there to do the Cupid Shuffle with me, but he did do a great story talk. You'd have been really proud. I understand you did it last year, I think, and he followed up this year, and really was a great inspiration to those kids and to me as well. Anyway, we're lucky to have him. Anyway, word to our graduates. We are so proud of each of you and your journey to where you are, and thank you to all the principals and teachers and staff that have helped these graduates get where they are, and we wish you the very best in your days ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Vice Chair Johnston.
Can you reach it? I'd like to take this opportunity also to congratulate our graduates and our teachers for getting them this far, and that they're able to leave our school system and enjoy the life that they had while in school, and will also go out on a venture, either go to work or go to school. That's what my dad used to tell us when we were in school. You had one of two choices. And, of course, we selected to go to college. But I would like to say that those young people, I've seen them on TV, the channel 11 or 18, one of them, they carry Clayton High School. And they also promote the graduates as well. And you could see a lot of them that are participating in the elementary schools and encouraging elementary school kids to finish and go to school. So I think that's a wonderful thing, and I think it's a wonderful thing for them to do that. Also, what's really on my mind is that we've lost a lot of people through death, and I've been real busy this month, look like to me, is we've lost a lot of educators that have gone through the school system, have worked for us. And I would mention Mr. Clayton specifically because he was my neighbor, and he worked for the school system as well. It was a wonderful homegoing for him. His two children did an outstanding job in planning in it, and his son gave the eulogy. And I don't think anyone here have could witness such a eulogy being presented for his father at that time. Very touching, very moving, and talked a lot about, more about the school than he did about cooperative extension service. So to let you know, he loved children and he did do a lot of great work. Many of you may not know that he did pass away in an accident on a Sunday coming from the orphanage in Oxford. And he died instantly there, except he made a few comments, and he passed. And so it's a shock to the community and also to his family and to everyone. To let you know, people do remember what you do, whether you're alive to hear it or you're deceased. But it's something that we all will have to do one day. So I would encourage you to continue to do what you were doing, helping people, helping children, helping our seniors, doing everything we can do to help our people. I'm going to leave it at that because it can be very emotional. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Johnston. Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Enjoyed the luncheon today with the athletic directors from our high schools. This is a hard working group of people who have tremendous responsibilities for making sure that athletic programs are run the right way and that our student athletes are taken care of. They just have a tremendously large job, and I appreciate what they do. Most people wouldn't even begin to understand all that's involved in being the athletic director of a high school, but it's a very demanding and stressful job. Speaking of stressful, this week is the week of high school commencements, and on Friday, our high schools will be graduating hundreds of seniors, and it's a tremendously busy time, and Friday will be a long day for our administrators. You so much want everything to go right for these graduates, as they have family and friends who have come and to see this very special occasion, and it's probably the biggest day of the 180 days of the school year. A lot goes into planning and carrying out high school commencement, and one of the best feelings in the world is when the last senior has been given his diploma and they're marching out and it's over. But congratulations to our graduates, and God's blessings upon them as they go about their careers, either furthering their education or going into the workforce or into the military or whatever they choose to do with their lives. I just pray that God will bless and guide them and to keep them. Ms. Grant mentioned the North Johnston High School portrait dedication, and that, in all my years, that was one of the most special things I've ever been a part of, and it's such a wonderful gesture on the part of North Johnston to do what they did. But it was a very, very special evening. And just to finish with remarks about Mr. William Clayton, he was such a noble person. Years ago, when I was at Cleveland teaching 7th and 8th grade health and PE, this man shows up and he wants to teach canoeing and sailboat safety to PE classes. Well, where are we going to teach these 7th and 8th graders how to be in a canoe and do it safely, or a sailboat? In the gym. So he comes in with a guy named Joe Lansinger, who is now with the Lord also. He and Joe set up these canoes and these sailboats, and 7th and 8th graders are taught the right ways to get in a canoe and out of a canoe and a sailboat and all this stuff, and they did a really good job. Mr. Clayton was in the school quite a bit. And he arranged to take these 7th and 8th graders to the agricultural center there on the way to Clayton. I can't remember the extension thing. They have a big pond, and so we got the canoes and the sailboats on the lake, on the pond, and these kids out there paddling and sailing, and he had a cookout for them, after all that, and it was such a big deal for those guys, for the students. But that was the kind of man that William Clayton was, and he was just a good person, and he tried to do good things for people, and the county and the school system will miss William Clayton. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Dr. Smith.
Thank you, sir. This year really has flown by. I just looked up and it's June. Congratulations to our graduates who are embarking on their future, and we pray for their success and safety. I, too, enjoyed the luncheon with the high school athletic directors. There was a lot of talent at those tables. I'd like to thank all the staff, teachers, administrators, and parents who have embraced the vision of excellence and are making it happen in our schools. We're almost at the end of this year, and I have seen excellent results of what is happening in our district. I, too, would like to express sympathy to the family of Mr. William Clayton. He was revered in Johnston County Schools and was a 4-H leader to hundreds. I worked with him at Smithfield's Selma Middle School when he planted a garden and hatched chickens and gave children a reason to think beyond themselves and to show compassion. I also would like to express sympathy to the family of Lucy Hutchins. The funeral was on the same day. Saturday was a hard day to hear both of those. Lucy was a 2nd grader at Riverdale Elementary, and we just treasure the fact that we know that they're with the Lord and that their lives meant something. I just hope a safe and restful summer to all of our staff and students and employees of the Johnston County Public Schools. See you back in the August.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Chairman. Just keep this brief. I know we have a lengthy meeting today, so in the essence of time, I would just like to thank Miss Jenna Sauls and Allison Matthews and Miss Pierce for all their work at the Cleveland High School Hall of Fame ceremony, inducting Mr. Wells, and it was an entertaining night. I know I was there with Todd and several others. Thanking every teacher. Your break is coming up, and I know it'll be a couple months, but it'll be over with before you know it and time to get back to work. So I certainly appreciate you. Students, be safe this summer, especially if you're driving an automobile. Enjoy your time, your ventures in college, everything else you've got coming to you. You certainly earned it. And for everyone else, we'll see you next year. Also like to recognize Mr. Clapp, who's with us today. Thank you for everyone. Appreciate everything.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I will close the comments, but I appreciate the board. There's reasons we moved the meeting to the first Tuesday of June, but it's kind of fitting to be able to send the seniors off with a comment. I would like to say that to the seniors, this is just a page in your life. It's a big day, but it's just a page in your life. And like Mr. Johnson said, we want the book to be made. So please be safe this week after graduation. It's time to have fun, but it's also time to be safe and wear your seatbelts and make sure you're doing the right thing, because you got families and grandparents and coaches and mentors and administrators and teachers and TAs and custodians and many others that love you and care about you, and we care about your future. We're excited that you're stepping out into the real world of either furthering your education or going into the military or going into the workforce. I know personally that you're prepared to grab hold of that life, and we're proud of you. But remember where you came from. Remember your families. Remember Johnston County Public Schools. You represent something that's bigger than you are. And I just ask you you're educated now, and you make the right decisions and choices in your life. I did enjoy the AD's meeting today and the leadership they provide our feeder patterns in schools. The one thing I did pull from that meeting was a comment that Bruce Proctor at Princeton, who's retiring from the school system, he said he did his devotion today, and he said if you're serving, then you're leading. If you're not serving, you're not leading. And that really touched my heart today, because service is leadership. And I appreciate all the service that everybody in the school system, they serve our children, and they make them into future leaders as well. So I appreciate everyone today. With that being said, we'll move on to advisory board appointment for Glendale Kinley Elementary, and I'll let Todd Sutton present that.
Principal Cole Yarborough would like to have a new member appointment of Crystal Corona, replacing a vacated seat by Angela Fortson, term to end in June 2020.
You heard the appointment. We'll let that serve as our motion. Do I have a second for this appointment? Second by Butler Hall. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Chairman, this time I would ask the board approve consent items 6A1A through 6A1N.
Entertain a motion to approve the consent agendas.
So move.
Motion by Todd Sutton, second by Butler Hall. Any questions about the consent items? If not, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Chairman, next item is item number 2. There were exigent circumstances after we had come to consensus on what our local budget proposal would be to the county commissioners. But in going back and recalculating numbers and reassessing it, we had to go back and poll each board member. And so at this time, we'd need to take formal action on those individual conversations that we had in approving what has been sent over to the courthouse for our local budget proposal.
Entertain a motion for the ratification of the polled vote for the budget proposal. Motion by Teresa Grant, second by Mr. Johnston. Any questions about the amended budget proposal? If those in favor, all those opposed, motion carries 7-0.
Mr. Chairman, next item under our umbrella deals with the Johnston County Public Schools Strategic Plan. I want to offer kudos to Dolores Gill. We had this vision probably a year and a half ago, and I said, Ms. Gill, we need a strategic plan. And being the quarterback that I can be, I pitched, rotated my thumb appropriately, and she took the ball and ran with it. Jenna McKeel's here today, who's also had a tremendous role in developing this strategic plan that you have in your packets at your sites. What is a Johnston County Public School Strategic Plan? You know, in just the simplest vernacular, I think a district-wide strategic plan is much like a school improvement plan that you would find at the site level. And so, to me, this is our school improvement plan for the district. So I would afford Ms. Gill any comments that she would want to make. And if Ms. McKeel wants to come to the podium to make a couple of comments, I would invite them both up at this time.
Good afternoon. I just want to give all of the recognition to a very hardworking lady, Miss Jenna McKeel. And then there has been a district-wide vision and action team that has worked since the beginning of the school year to put this into place. So I must say that as far as giving recognition, it goes to a hardworking group of all of our district employees who recognize the need for there to be alignment between what our schools are working on for their improvement efforts, as well as aligning it with what we are doing as a district. So this is a culmination of that, But that work does not stop with this document. The work actually is beginning at this point with Jenna leading the charge to work with those same teams to begin to develop these strategies and put in action steps to see this plan realized. I'll turn it over to you, Ms. McKeel.
Good afternoon. It's great to see you all this afternoon. Thank you for taking your time to review our plan. You'll notice we are following that same format that we launched with our schools, focusing on what is wildly important. So you'll notice that this plan is consolidated to focus on two wildly important goals around common language and communication, as well as PD and onboarding. We will also be measuring progress formatively and providing updates regularly, so the progress of our vision will really come to fruition. Thank you.
This document can be used for many purposes. It could be a, if somebody says, well, I don't know much about JOCO 2020. If we could provide this document to them, this could be a thesaurus for what JOCO 2020 is, and even has a glossary in the back of it to help explain some of those things that just the everyday person may not know what it is. So good for parents, good for the community, good for all stakeholders. And so Jenna, Dolores, please, this document has been a labor of love, a lot of man hours, lady hours in bringing it together, and just know how much I appreciate what you've done and the leadership you've shown.
Any other questions for Jenna or Dolores?
Yes, absolutely. This will also be electronically on our website. We will also be giving this on June 21st to all of our principals to have their first look. As a former principal, what I would be recommending is how do I take this document back and ensure that the stakeholders on my leadership teams know that, and how does it align to my school improvement team. Further, we will be making copies to keep in school offices, as well as providing any copies for the public information team to have when they go out to work with civic groups, as well as you all. So it's really a document that you can take that really showcases what we're working with this coming up year.
The document is wonderful. I just feel like let's make sure that it's used. It's not placed on a shelf somewhere, and you have to remind people to go back and get it. Thank you.
Lady Vice Chair, the intent of this document would be that it's on principal's desk every day, much like a school improvement plan, highlighted, marked through, scratched out, dog-eared, so that we know where things are on certain pages. And, you bring up a great point, the voice of wisdom there. This cannot be put away on a shelf to collect dust, because this has to be a living, breathing document that is changed on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis. Once we get to the point where we think that this is our strategic plan, then there's no use for us, because it's got to be flexible and grow every day.
I have one other comment. I think it's important. I'm glad it's going to be on the website, but that parents know that it's there, because I get a lot of questions about what is JOCO 2020, and so they need to know it's available as a resource for them.
Appreciate your hard work. Dr. Price. Nice to have you this afternoon.
Glad to be here. Good afternoon, Mr. Board Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Board of Ed members, Mr. Jim Lawrence. Today I have 4 items. 2 are action, 2 are for information only. Exhibit item 6B1 is a second update of our restart schools, the initial restart schools, Cooper and North Johnston Middle School. The board had requested, when we made this decision, that we would have a mid-year update and then an end-of-the-year update. So today, I will ask our 2 principals to come up in order, Mr. Brian Johnson and Joseph Flores, so that they can present the end-of-the-year data for their restart year.
Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Price, and thank all of you for having me here today for this update. Just hold on one second. Is this going to be working? Yes, sir. Okay. Want to preface my presentation just with I will actually be going quickly through some of these items on the actual slide because I find it very important that I touch on some of the survey data that I've shared with you that you have a hard copy of, because that should be our focus of our update today. As you know, when we started with the restart process, we started with creating a new mission and vision for our school. That was in line with JOCO 2020, with this year being specifically concentrating on relationships. The biggest thing that we have with relationships right now is that, again, this data will be presented at the end of my presentation, but one of the main things as well is that staff feel like they have a word, a voice within our system now, within our school, because we have built those close relationships with each other. The relevance piece, we've made our offerings at North Johnston Middle School more relevant for our students. We've offered seminar to talk about social topics. We've offered clubs. We've offered more student-centered instruction, and that can be seen through our informal walkthroughs in the classroom, more of that student-centered, student options within our classroom. Within the innovation piece, we've had quite a few professional development opportunities on our early release Fridays, and we feel like our innovation department has really helped us, and we want to thank them for that with giving us some of these tools that we need in our classroom within our school. So over the past year, that professional development has been key to our success with Restart this year. Additionally, some of the innovation changes have been with grading. And one of the standards-based grading comments from a parent that I would like to share is that the new grading system allows for my child to have a bad test day, but still do well in the class. And parents came forward over and over talking about how our innovative grading system helped their child this year. Also, again, with innovation, that professional development helped with our new instructional practices that we decided to implement in our classroom this year. And before I touch up based on the reflection, this is the copy that I wanted to share with you. We took the Advanced Ed Survey questions that dealt with students and compared it from that Advanced Ed Survey to our survey that we took this year. And I'd like to just go over these 5 questions with you. The students were asked, if I have a problem, there's an adult that I can go to in the school. Last year, that was at 53.6%. This year, 71.2%. In the school, there is one adult that likes me. Last year, 53.6%. This year, 75.6%. I am treated fairly in the school, a 25.5% last year to a staggering 65.9%. The adults in the school know who I am, gone from 53.3% to 83.7%. And the people in this building know how to prepare me for the future, which is still an increase, not a huge one, but 62.2 to 66.5. Our focus with JOCO 2020 has been relationships this whole year. And this will eventually reap rewards with performance in the classroom. But our students feel like we know who they are, they feel respected, and this is our biggest celebration this year because we have come together as a staff and we have done this with our students. And this is our biggest celebration this year that we wanted to share with you as our Restart update. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
I just have a comment. I've said it over and over. I've got half of my family is at North Johnston Middle School. Wife is a teacher and daughter in the 7th grade. And I can attest to last year from a relationship standpoint to this year and just hearing the conversations that her and my wife have on a daily basis that I get involved in and just seeing the difference in how the teachers seem to care. Nothing really different except you implement a relationship building, and kudos to the staff for taking hold of that and the initiative of your charge and moving forward. And the students do see that, and I see it on a daily basis. So thank you for what you did this year at North Johnston Middle School. As a community member, I hate to see you go to the Corinth Holders High School, but I do appreciate your 1 year of helping us at North Johnston Middle School.
Thank you. The staff has worked extremely hard.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful day.
Welcome, Ms. Flores.
Thank you, thank you. Good afternoon, Board Chairman Wooten, Lady Chair Johnson, Dr. Ross Renfro, and the prestigious Johnson County Board of Education members. Thank you again for the opportunity to come before you today to share the progress that Cooper has made on our restart journey. We have 3 goals that we have been focusing on in NC STAR as we have embarked on our restart transformation, and I will be updating you on the progress of these 3 goals. Our first goal, all teachers will be attentive to students' emotional states, guide students in managing their emotions, and arrange for supports and interventions when necessary. At Cooper, we have implemented morning meeting from the responsive classroom for the 2nd year in a row. This strategy has proven effective in forming a positive, close-knit family atmosphere based on mutual respect for all of our classrooms. We start each day with a greeting, a sharing session, a team-building activity, and we end with a morning message to begin our day. We also begin every Monday with a whole school Monday morning meeting in our gym. This offers us an opportunity for all of our students to celebrate the accomplishments of one another. We have character ed performances, student recognition, and a prideful team-building pep rally atmosphere. It is a powerful and meaningful way to begin every week at Cooper, and it unites us as a school family. We have provided staff professional developments in the areas of mental health responsiveness, mindfulness training, growth mindset training, and social emotional learning. We have a school improvement restorative responsive innovation team that has aligned positive behavior incentives as well as interventions to restore students who are in the process of learning strategies to ensure their success in life. We conducted a student survey to measure student perception, and a significant increase was reflected in the areas of how our students perceive relationships with staff and the instruction at our school. Our second goal, the LEA school, will regularly look at school performance data and aggregated classroom observation data and use that data to make decisions about school improvements and professional development needs. With the help of our 3 wonderful learning coaches, we were able to complete strategic learning walks and adjust our staff professional development to meet the needs of our staff. We have social studies and science fully integrated into our 120-minute literacy block. We have an explore time built into our schedule to allow for hands-on activities. In our literacy block, we utilize read aloud for fiction and nonfiction, as well as flex group time daily. We have personalized learning time built into our schedule. We have a curriculum innovation team that has worked tirelessly to create our Cooper thematic units with performance tasks built around problem-solving learning. Within our units, we have school-wide themes, which allows for vertical alignment and culminates with our amazing International Night school-wide event. We have also created our own school-wide aligned assessments and phonics continuum. And our last goal, our third goal, the school will monitor progress of the extended learning time programs and strategies being implemented and use that data to inform modifications. Our staff has researched calendars and professional development plans to support the increase that we now have in quality instructional time. We have worked with many community partners to furnish environments within our school for more quality learning experiences. Our amazing STEAM lab was created with the generous support of community donors and has proven to be a highly effective, engaging learning experience as an enhancement that we are able to offer to all of our students. Ask any of our students about the coding, robotics, engineering, problem-based learning on environmental issues, conservation, recycling, weather, budgets, etc. Our wonderful STEAM teacher, Miss Robin, incorporates the science and math standards aligned to our thematic units for every grade level as well. As we move forward onto our 2nd year of Restart, we have conducted a situational analysis with the assistance of central level support, and we plan to put a strong emphasis on social emotional learning. We will have 2 behavior specialists on staff, as well as a mental health interventionist to prepare our students for success in a complex and ever-changing environment. We will be utilizing the highly successful Capturing Kids' Hearts process, as well as continuing morning meeting. Central Services will also provide cognitive coaching training to several teacher leaders at Cooper. So I want to take this time to thank you again for providing Cooper the opportunity that we have had for Restart. The change in our culture and community perception has been extremely positive and heartwarming and has assisted us in creating a happy, loving, warm family atmosphere that is highly conducive to learning and to meeting all the needs of our students. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from Ms. Flores? She said a mouthful.
I just have to tell you, Ms. Flores and Ms. Poland came and talked to my class at Campbell on Saturday seminar. I had students saying, how do we get to be a Restart school? They made the most dynamic impression on that group, and they really let them know that relationships trump strategies. But if you have the relationship right, the strategies take hold. And I was so proud to say, this is Johnston County. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for those comments. That's great.
Use it. You mentioned mental health. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Well, we want to make sure that we meet all the needs of our students, and some of our students may come to school not ready to learn, and they have social, emotional, mental health needs that we want to make sure that we can provide the resources for them. Counseling, the needs that our students have. Well, okay.
I think that what we've done is Ms. Flores and I, we work together and assessing the types of students that we have, and there are some students who come in with trauma, and so there may be some alcohol or drug abuse in the home, and so those students who come in have more on their mind than what we have in regards to content. So we need to address those needs prior. And so that's what we, in a needs assessment, we talked about. And Ms. Flores very early on came to us and did a presentation in cabinet and was pleading with us to assist her in the school in meeting those needs so that the hard work that they were doing would result in results.
And isn't that the key to relationships too, though, because they don't share those needs if they don't have a relationship with somebody they can confide in and that type of thing. Yeah.
Dr. Smith stole my line. It's really about the culture, and what these two schools set out to do was to change the culture and the community perception. And they've done that. So happy buildings will produce results over time. And that's what you have right now, the beginning of some great things.
It's what I was getting at, because I live in that near Cooper, and so I'm aware of a lot of the needs, especially that's associated with mental illness or any of those kind of things. And I'm glad you're touching on it. That is really good. I appreciate it a lot.
Well, some of our students in all of our schools come to school not ready to learn until those needs are met.
Thank you.
Good job, Ms. Flores. Thank you. Ms. Johnston, thank you. Appreciate it.
The next item is also an information item. Item 6B2 is an update of the fire science program. And as a reminder, we began those the discussions long ago, 2014, 2015. They intensified, and then in 2016 we started our recruitment of students, and we committed, and we worked on placing our schools, and we came up with a criteria, and we found that everyone in the district wanted to have a fire science program. That was loud and clear, but because of the numbers of kids and the pockets of where the interest was, we decided on 2 locations, one at Triple S and one at Clayton High School. And so in 2016, we started recruiting middle and high school students, and we got some great students, some super students, about 44 kids committed, and we have 4 of those students here today that I want to recognize: Sable McNulty, Henry Morales, Juan Padron, and Matthew Ellison are with us. If they could come in and have a seat. Great examples of commitment and dedication to a program. And we also recruited and got a great teacher, Captain Mickey Nixon. I've known Mickey for a long time, and he has done an outstanding job with the program. And so at this time, I'm going to have Suzanne Lujan, CTE Director, to come up to talk about this program, the kids, this instructor, and the great things that are going on in these 2 schools.
Welcome.
Thank you. To start it. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Wooten and Dr. Renfro, Vice Chair Johnson, and Mr. Lawrence was here just a minute ago, and the rest of the members of the board. I'm excited to share with you an update on our fire science program. As you know, that started this year at both Clayton High School in the fall and Smithfield Selma High School in the spring semester. And we're going to start out with a video that was created this year that highlights the program and some of our students. So we'll go ahead and start with that.
The Fire Science Program is a partnership between Johnston County Public Schools, Johnston Community College, and the fire departments of Johnston County. They're working together to provide this program for the kids so that when they graduate from high school, they are certified firefighters and they have the opportunity to get their fire science degree from JCC at nearly no cost to them. The biggest benefit is that they, when they graduate, after having been a part of the program for 3 years, they are hireable to the local fire departments, and they also have the opportunity to have their fire science degree from JCC.
It's definitely a tough market out there to find a job. You know, a lot of times you have maybe 100 people applying for one job. It definitely puts you ahead of the ball game and, you know, puts you in a really marketable place for yourself.
The hands-on experience is the best. It's real fun and gives you the taste of what it's going to be like once you make it.
We just finished emergency medical care, so going over how to do CPR, proper training, how to stop bleeding, treating wounds. So if any of that happens, I'll be ready. Whereas if you didn't take this, you may not know, and that could cost someone, and you would think, what if I had done something? What if I could have done something? So you can take away experience for how to save lives.
I'm originally from Cleveland High School, and I drive here every day to take this class. And what's great about it is that everyone is super supportive. Like the administration from Cleveland High School, the administration from Clayton High School, my mom, students here, they don't really care that I'm from Cleveland. They still accept me in their group. They still talk to me. I'm friends with every single one of them.
I think the kids that see the fire trucks going up and down the street and get excited about seeing that, I think they've got an interest. And to me, those are the kids that need to apply. The ones that want to help out in their community, they help out the folks that live around them and are willing to, you know, sacrifice some of the time that they would normally be spending on themselves to help out folks in their community. You know, that's the kind of kids that need to apply.
If I was able to take this opportunity in high school, it would have helped me move quicker. It affords more promotion opportunities in a shorter amount of time. You can start your career basically before you have to go through all this training after high school. you get a jump start on a lot of candidates, and that's a very competitive area.
Well, this class kind of encouraged me to find a career path. I grow up, I don't want to be in a boring office job, you know, doing almost nothing for anything. You know, I wanted to be out there doing something for anybody or everybody. So this class basically has what I always wanted in a job, really.
This is the real deal. So if you're more like physical person that like wants to do things and wants a job and wants to help people, this class is worth it.
I'd say go for it. Try it and see how you like it. You're probably going to like it. It's a really fun class.
So after that, I really probably don't have to say much about the program because it's doing a lot of great things for our community and our students. I would like to share that this past year we had 44 students enrolled, and just so happened that it were equally divided between Smithfield-Selma High School and Clayton High School. You can see at Clayton they offered two public safety courses, and one Fire Science 1 course, and then at Triple S they offered one public safety and then two Fire Science 1 courses. For the upcoming school year, we had 43 students apply, and we sent out 43 invitations, and we have 24 students coming to Smithfield-Selma High School and 19 to Clayton High School. We will be adding the Fire Technology 2 course, which is the next course in the progression for the students. We had a fire science program last night for our parents and students for the upcoming school year, just to make sure that they had an opportunity to ask questions and to get information about what would be taking place in the upcoming school year. We also have 17 students who were a part of the Fire Science 1 course this past year that have already registered for JCC courses for the upcoming school year. Just wanted to let you guys know that we do have an MOU for the program that both students and parents sign as they're going into the Firefighter 1 course. They also need to have a physical before they start the course. We also have a letter of support from all 24 fire stations and an MOU of support that is signed by all of the stakeholders in our county. If you don't already, I encourage you to follow on Twitter. Right now, it's at fire_SS18. There is another one also that was the Clayton High that was for 17, and I'm sure there will be ones upcoming. I did also want to mention that we were able to fund another position, so there will be an instructor full-time at Triple S next year and full-time at Clayton next year. So without further ado, I'll give you an opportunity to ask any questions you want of the students and Captain Nixon or myself.
There's a couple of retired firemen in the room. I'm one of them, and Mr. Clapp's one of them. Is any more in here? But what would it have been like, Mr. Clapp, to have all this training in high school versus on-the-job training the way we got it over the years? But yeah, so I'm a little partial to firemen and fire women. Is that how you say it? Okay. Is there any comments that y'all would like to share with the board? Yeah. Come stand at the podium if you want to speak. You're going to have to learn to do that too.
Okay, so when I was first coming to Clayton, I didn't know anybody because, like you saw in the video, I'm from Cleveland. So everyone is like really, really cool and awesome. And they're like, hey, what's up, all the time. They're just like super like rambunctious, as you can already see. And Mr. Nixon is probably like one of my favorite teachers ever. So I'm like super into him coming back to Clayton, even though there's not a the amount of students is lower for Clayton. So like I really want him back at Clayton because I can't make it to Triple S. So I just wanted to say that. So,
well, we appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank
Well,
you.
we appreciate what you're all doing. You took a step of faith, and I think it's going to pay off, and we appreciate everybody that's serving this program. Thank you.
I just want to thank you for wearing your uniform, partial uniforms. I know you're not fully dressed, but that really is impressive that you are examining. Exactly. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
One of the young men mentioned in the video that this was something that he wanted to do. He couldn't see himself sitting in an office or those kinds of things. And there are a lot, you know, the Lord didn't bless us all in the same way. Thank goodness. There's not but one of me, but you know, I have a brother that is a retired lieutenant in the Florence, South Carolina Fire Department, and you know, he and I are brothers, blood brothers, and I love him dearly, but we're just different, you know. He never liked school, and I just couldn't wait to go to school, and school has been my life, and teaching and those kind of things. But he is not that person. He was a fireman, and that's what he loved doing. And I never understood. In fact, I couldn't do it because I couldn't do the things that, you know, go into car accidents and fires, and that's not me. But it is, thank goodness, thank the Lord that there are people who want to do it and are good at doing it, and we have the opportunity to help give these students an opportunity to choose a path that they not only feel good about, but they are beneficial to, and very beneficial to society. I don't know how we could survive without these kinds of services. And Captain Nixon, I knew him when he was just Mick, but we ran into each other over at Triple S Strong Day, and I hadn't seen him in years, but we talked together at Clayton, and he coached, and you know, we just got to be really good friends, and it was good to see him, and I'm glad that somebody like Mick is a part of making sure this program is working and he's doing such a good job with it. I'm very grateful that, you know, the policy committee took the time to listen to our fire chiefs and the work that people in the central office did in getting all this together. Now it's a reality. It's very, very rewarding for us to see this in action. Thank you.
Well, it all goes back to what I said earlier. Service is leadership. Right. So there's 4 leaders that's going to be leaders in our community. If you choose to be in that profession for a lifetime, you'll end up seeing that you're in a band of a family that you can't pull apart. So, you know, your firemen buddies and the people that you work with, it's just like the police force and the firemen and the rescue. I mean, it's a family, and we appreciate the service that you'll give our communities.
Mr. Chairman, just go ahead, Mr. Mick, go ahead.
Like this. I just applaud these young people for doing this, and I also think that and thank the board members that visited the different places over a year ago, 2 years ago, and with Mr. Larry Strickland and some of the others. Mr. Strickland was our chair, and I remember that Dr. Smith and some visited the various fireplaces in the county, and came back and just was overwhelmed and wanted us to do something. So this is a reality, and I'd like to commend you all for taking that leap, that first leap out there, and setting the pace, letting others know what a great job it is and how important it is to life, and to help people live a healthy and wonderful life. So thank you all for what you do.
And I just want to add one comment. In the beginning of the video, you said it was a partnership between Johnston Community College, Johnston County Public Schools, and our local fire departments. And I just am so overwhelmed at the generosity that even the uniforms that you're wearing are donated by fire departments. And that is what our partnerships really can do when we all decide that this is the direction we want to go. So our hats off to the fire departments as well.
I just have a question. So we had 44 last year. How many are continuing on to the firefighter 2?
Mickey, you want to answer that question? So in the ones that were enrolled in Fire 1 this year, how many are continuing to Fire 2?
I think we're going to lose 3. I think we lost 3.
We're going to lose 3 of the about 22, 23 students that had Fire 1 between the 2 schools. 23 students that we had between the 2 schools. We'll lose 3 going up to Fire 2.
That's wonderful. I want to thank you, young folks, for coming in today, too, and for being on the video. That took bravery as well. But what a wonderful sacrificial profession that each of you are considering, and we appreciate that.
I would like to say that we've been very lucky and blessed to have Captain Nixon as our instructor to start out our program this year, because he has just given 125% to both schools, and having to switch mid-year and adjust to a new school and a new school culture, and has done it with grace. And as you heard, the students love him. We have been extremely blessed to have someone like him start this program.
Thank you.
Do you want to introduce the next one?
When you're talking about the uniforms, we also, Ms. Lujan, Ms. Leonard, Mr. Lawrence, and I think it's this week, or is it next week?
This week, Thursday.
This week, this Thursday. Is that tomorrow? No, Thursday. Why did you say tomorrow? I'm trying to read your lips. Okay. Whatever you say, Mr. Lawrence, I'm going to agree. So tomorrow is Thursday, per Mr. Lawrence, and we're going to Bentonville to see if they're looking at potentially donating a fire truck to the program. And so we have to work out the logistics here, but we'll be going down there to talk to them Thursday. So Exhibit 6B3, the Career and Technical Education Local Plan, is an action item. And this local plan is governed by a local planning system, an LPS, that we, for accountability's sake, we have to turn into the state and the feds. And so you guys will get an idea of what we're doing in the career and technical education world. Ms. Lujan will present that again. And I want to say that one of the students said that that course is the real deal, that program. Ms. Lujan is the real deal as well. And she has done a tremendous job of putting things, aligning, putting things together, advertising, communicating, and working toward internships and getting kids in work-related activities, moving in that arena. And she's doing some great things for us. So I did want to applaud her in front of you guys. So,
Dr. Price, I do want to mention, since you brought that up, I have heard many positive comments from the community leaders of your networking in the local communities. It's been all positive, so I appreciate that.
Thank you. So, Ms. Lujan, if you'll come up and present the local plan.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you about one of my passions, and that's career and technical education in Johnston County. We've had an opportunity to hear from our great research schools, and I heard a lot of things that they're doing around relationships and relevance and innovation, and that is CTE. It is relationships, relevance, and innovation, and hopefully you'll hear some of that today in what I share with you. So the first thing I'd like to share is that our graduation rate for CTE concentrators is 99%. These are students that have completed 4 courses in a career cluster pathway, and I think we all know that students who are focused in high school have better retention rates, and also a better opportunity to form those relationships between teachers and students, and we are seeing the results in CTE. I'd like to share, too, that our total enrollment in CTE, we have this year 14,150 students enrolled in grades 6 through 12 who are taking CTE classes this year. As you can see from the pie chart, that the biggest enrollment are in business and agricultural courses. Here's a breakdown of our enrollment by school. You can see that we had 8,439 students enrolled in grades 6 through 8 and 15,144 enrolled in 9 through 12, which is a total of 23,583. This is a duplicated count, so if a student has taken more than one CTE course, they're counted for every time that they're in the course. I'm also excited to share with you that last year we had 419 credentials earned by our students, and these are in industry-recognized credentials like Adobe, Microsoft Office products, ServSafe, NCCER, OSHA 10, and many more. These are things that are gonna look great for our students when they're applying for jobs and have them ready for work. I'd also like to share that we were awarded a $50,000 CTE expansion grant to expand CTE in the middle schools. We already offer courses in our middle schools in CTE, so we identified that we need to expand our career exploration for those middle grade students. So with the money, we have hired 2 part-time CDCs, and they are serving all 13 middle schools, and they started in March and have since served 1,173 8th grade students who have had the opportunity to access our career exploration platform, Career Cruising, and do interest inventories, learning style inventories, and start creating that 4-year plan. Those 2 CDCs have also created a plan for implementation for grades 6 through 8 for next school year. I'm also excited to share with you that Johnston County is a certified work-ready community. This is designated to communities that in combination have individuals who have earned the National Career Readiness Certificate and have a percent of businesses that recognize and recommend that certificate. So in Johnston County, we have 7,754 people who have earned that certificate. Of that number, 5,726 earned it while they were in high school as a CTE concentrator. And also 87 of our employers in Johnston County have signed on to recognize and recommend this certificate. And this just demonstrates that we have a robust workforce development effort and that it's aligned to our development needs in Johnston County. I also wanted to share that we've been more focused on work-based learning this year, and hopefully you all heard about our JOCO Job Shadow event, and hopefully perhaps some of you were able to host a student at your workplace during that event. We had 261 students that participated from 9 high schools, and I'm also excited to share that we established a CTE Business Advisory Council this year. We had great participation from our business and industry partners in the county, and they were able to share trends that they're seeing in their workplace and also needs that they have of their employees and future workforce. This information has helped us to give a focus for our CTE teachers to prepare students for future jobs in Johnston County. I've already shared with you about our fire program, so I'm going to move along and share with you that our CTE program is monitored by state and federal authorities, and they base our program success on 8 performance indicators. You can see those indicators at the bottom of the bar graph there, and the orange indicates Johnston County and how we are doing in those performance indicators against the rest of the state. And you can see that we're either roughly about the same or a little better than others across the state in all 8 performance indicators. One of the performance indicators I wanted to highlight is our Cte Technical Attainment. This is the performance of our students on the CTE state exam at the end of courses. And overall, we had an 80.2% proficiency rate for our students last year, compared to a statewide of 78.5%. You can see in this graph that one of the areas that we could use some growth or some improvement is in our trade and industrial program. This graph shows how we did in each of our 7 program areas. And our trade and industrial program last year was lower than the state. And we anticipate that we will see quite a growth this year in attainment overall, and also in particular in trade and industrial, and that education, and that is primarily because we are now this year for the first time able to allow students to take the credential in select CTE courses where that credential covers at least 80% of the course content to count as their technical attainment. So if they earn that credential in those classes, then they don't have to take their CTE exam at the end of the course, which you can imagine has been very popular with our students. And also we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from our teachers as well. So we're expecting a bump in our technical attainment and also in the number of credentials earned by our students for the upcoming school year. For this past school year, excuse me. We're very blessed in CTE to have 3 sources of funding, and I wanted to share that for the upcoming year that we are aligning our spending to our local plan that focuses on work-based learning. One of the ways that we're doing this is we're going to start funding career readiness field trips. We have always funded our student organization field trips, but now we're going to start funding opportunities for teachers to take students into the workplace so students can see firsthand the world of work. We are also continuing to fund our career exploration platform, Career Cruising, to give students the access to resources that will help them make informed career decisions, and we're going to continue funding our credential opportunities for our students. I would like to share a few of the highlights from the CTE local plan that will be focused on for the upcoming year. We're going to be starting a hospitality and tourism academy using the National Academy Foundation, or NAF model, at Smithfield Selma High School. NAF has been around for 36 years and has had great outcomes for students, higher graduation rates, higher percentage of students going to college, higher income than their peers. And they've gotten those outcomes with 71% of their academy graduates being reported as low-income students and 18% being English language learners. So we are anticipating great outcomes at SSS with this program. Also, we'll be focusing our CTE expansion efforts to align with the local workforce need. According to the Regional Workforce Skills Analysis Survey that was done by RTI International in February of this year, the companies with the most expected growth in our region are construction, healthcare and life sciences, and information technology. And we'll be focusing our resources and our work in CTE in these areas. We all know that our student organizations provide the platform to build relationships with students and give students the opportunity to gain leadership and workplace readiness skills. Our CTE courses provide the content for the students, but our student organizations provide that performance piece for the students to get out in the community, to get out of their classroom, to show what they've learned in CTE and to practice those skills they've learned. So we're focusing our efforts to increase the number of student organizations, chapters in our schools, and also to increase membership. You've been given a digital copy of an infographic with a synopsis of our CTE programs and highlights from today's presentation. I have hard copies of this if you would like those. Also, we have a Twitter page. If you're not already following, please follow, and you can follow our students as they are learning and becoming career and college ready. I'd like to leave you with the thought that CTE is learning that works for Johnston County. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
Thank you for the information. Now, the CTE local plan is an action item, correct? Entertain a motion. Vice Chair Johnston's got the motion, seconded by Teresa Grant. Any questions? You can see how we all agree. Everybody made a motion. All those in favor? All those opposed, motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you all like the, I'll pass.
You can give those copies if you want the hard copies. Item 6B4 is also an action item. It's various federal grants related to migrant and/or ESL students. The deadline for this application is June 30th, and we certainly have to apply to get the money, and we have no reason not to think we would get the money, but if we wait and ask for an extension, that prolongs when we get the money. So we want to apply as soon as possible without the knowledge of what we are eligible to receive. So what I'm presenting to you through exhibit item is the fact that we wish to, for Title III PRC 111, which is for first-time high school students, it usually comes in the form of about $12,000. We use it for tutoring. I'm asking that as I go through each of these, there are 4 of them, 4 PRCs, that we vote and approve those so that we can complete this application. And once we receive the amount of money, then we can give you specifics of exactly how we use it. Title III PRC 104 is for English language learners, and it's usually around $300,000, and we use it for professional development and supplemental materials. The Migrant Ed program is PRC 051. It's around $120,000 each year, and we use that for summer programs and recruitment, instructional supplies, and parent involvement for migrant students. And then finally, Title I, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about $6 million for us each year, and the majority of that, as you know, over the last several years, we've talked about that, it goes to the schools, and we have 19 schools who qualify for Title I funding. So what I'd ask you to do is to approve the fact that we complete these applications so that we can get this money as soon as possible. Then I'll report out to you how it will be spent.
I entertain a motion for the federal grant application process. Motion by Ronald Johnston, seconded by Vice Chair Johnston. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Mr. Petrano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, board members, Dr. Renfro. Come before you this afternoon with one item. It is an action item. It's board exhibit number 6C1. As you recall, the State Board of Education approved for Benson Elementary and Benson Middle to operate as a restart school at our March 20th board meeting, and here the restart calendar was presented and approved by this board. After considering many advantages of feeder pattern schools adopting the same calendar, especially knowing that families have children attending more than one school, different levels, the following schools, 4 Oaks Elementary, 4 Oaks Middle, Meadow, and South Johnston, are requesting approval to follow the 2018-19 Benson area restart calendar. Though this is a restart calendar, the calendar does meet all of the legal requirements, so certainly these schools can legally follow this calendar if you approve. After seeking input from their stakeholders, the South Johnston High School feeder pattern principals, who are here today, are requesting approval to follow the Benson area restart calendar, which this board has already approved.
This is an action item. I entertain a motion for the Benson area restart calendar. Motion by Butler Hall, seconded by Dr. Smith. I would like to say that it's very encouraging to see the whole feeder pattern embrace what's going on in that feeder pattern, and it excites me. So I appreciate the attendance, and I appreciate the board accepting this. Any other comments?
Just another great example of the collaborative spirit amongst our principals. And you're seeing this throughout our district, most prevalent today in the South Johnston attendance area. And we applaud you all for being on the same page. Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Vetrano.
Thank you. Those are all my items. Thank
Ms. Roberts.
It works fine. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Wooten, Lady Vice Chair Johnson, members of the board, and Dr. Renfro. I stand before you once again to share all of the comprehensive news coverage. You have that list there in front of you of a summary of our coverage from May. And you also have your save the date lists. To start with, of course, our graduations, 2 of which we have already participated in, our middle college and early college. So you have those save the date, that save the date information, and we're moving into summer. So our annual summer leadership will occur as well. And Mr. Wooten, your planning board documents.
Yeah, I can do it in 10 seconds. We are growing as a county and continuing to build houses, so we need to continue to stay in communication with our county commissioners to help us with our growth needs. Thank you, Ms. Roberts.
Sure, thank you. And the last item I have for you under this area is an action item for our phone service provider. And if you have any questions, Mr. Dan Hicks from Information Services is here. But we are moving over to Converge Networks from Carolina Digital, and you have that information.
This is an action item. Entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Butler Hall. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Ms. Roberts.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
We'll reconvene our meeting. Ms. Roberts.
Thank you so very much. And we are going to start this afternoon's recognitions with our presentation of the Johnston County Public Schools girls soccer players receiving statewide recognition. I'm going to introduce Brent Walleston, who is our Director of Athletics, but while he's bringing the students forward, I'll just tell you a little bit about this recognition. So with us today, we have Emory Biggs, a senior girls soccer player from Clayton High School. She was named to the North Carolina Soccer Coaches Association 3A All-State Team, was named to the North Carolina team for the Clash of the Carolinas, and selected to represent Johnston County in the North Carolina Coaches Association's East-West All-Star Game. And then we have Holland Mills, who is a senior girls soccer player from Clayton High School, also named to the North Carolina Soccer Coaches Association's 3A All-State Team. Carolina Solis is a senior girls soccer player from Corinth Holders High School, also named to the North Carolina team for the Clash of the Carolinas, and she was also named to the 3A All-State team. So here's some background for you as they're coming forward. Emory and Holland were coached this past spring by Joe Mott. They received their All-State awards at a ceremony on June the 3rd. Carolina was coached by Corinth Holders AD Allison Vetterell. The Clash of the Carolinas game is soccer's equivalent of the Shrine Bowl. And here they come.
I would ask that the parents would like to take pictures, or any family members would like to take pictures, please come behind the board where you can get a good shot of your student. You just come all the way around. You won't bother us.
All the way up there. I'm going to let Brent take this and share with you some additional information about these young ladies. Brent?
As Ms. Roberts said, this is Emory Biggs, Holland Mills, and Carolina Solis. Carolina from Corinth Holders was named to the 4A All-State soccer team. Holland, a senior girls soccer player from Clayton, was named to the 3A All-State soccer team. Carolina is also playing in the Clash of the Carolinas. Holland, as I said, to the 3A All-State soccer team, and Emory was named to the 3A All-State soccer team representing Clayton, was named to the Clash of the Carolinas, and will also represent Johnston County at the East-West All-Star Soccer Game. That game will be played on Tuesday, July 17th in Greensboro, and this marks the 27th year of the East-West All-Star Girls Soccer Game. So we have Emory Biggs from Clayton, Holland Mills from Clayton, and Carolina Solis from Corinth Holders High School.
Boys golf, yes. Can you get him?
I'll be glad to. I just didn't know he was here.
I think he's here, but we're going to do Employee of the Month first, so you can gather yours. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are moving on with our Employee of the Month because all of our students are not here for each of these. We're missing some from all of these groups. So at this point, so we're going to move forward with Employee of the Month, Brian Vetrano.
They're not having problems finding parking out there, are they? We did have an extra deputy here to help with that today. I don't know if y'all noticed that or not.
They invite who they would like. You can come on, stand up here with me.
Good afternoon.
All right, always my privilege to come and stand before you for our Employees of the Month. And standing beside me, I normally say come join me, but you're already here. Standing beside me is Miss Galdenia Piedra. I believe they call you Miss Galdini. I was preparing this and I put Miss Piedra on everything, but at the school I heard them saying Miss Galdini or Miss G.
Miss G.
Right. Well, I'm going to try to say your name. Ms. Piedra serves as a receptionist at McGee's Crossroads Elementary. She was nominated by Sarah Cowell, who serves as a TLC at the school. Ms. Cowell shared quite a bit about Ms. Piedra. She shared that she is always kind, patient, willing to attend to every individual's needs. The fact that Ms. G is bilingual also allows her to make families who visit our school feel welcomed and comfortable. She comes to school with a positive attitude every day with a permanent smile on her face. She goes above and beyond to help our students, staff, and parents. Even when the office becomes crazy, Ms. G never loses her composure. She remains calm, caring, and upbeat no matter what is going on around her. Mrs. Galdinia's positivity is contagious. She makes the McGee's Crossroads Elementary office a cheerful place to visit. And I will say, when we visited yesterday, you turned around with a smile. She was putting something in the cabinets and turned around with a smile on her face. And what they're saying here is absolutely true because we experienced it. So thank you for what you do. Congratulations for being our Classified Employee of the Month. And you can walk around and see each board member. And not quite finished. I told you we'd have a few more goodies for you. We have a certificate signed by me and the superintendent, a keychain, and a gift card. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Our Certified Employee of the Month, I think I see him standing in the back of the room, Mr. Kenneth Sweat. If Mr. Sweat will please come forward and join me up here. Great to see you again. Mr. Sweat serves as counselor and girls soccer coach at Cleveland High School. He was nominated as Employee of the Month by Angela Davis, who is a teacher in our school system and also a parent in our school system. Ms. Davis shared that Mr. Sweat has been the varsity girls soccer coach for 2 years. He performs his coaching duties by building relationships with his players. He models professionalism and sportsmanship and expects his players to do the same. This season, Coach Sweat asked his players if they wanted to serve on a committee to collaborate and apply for the Commissioner's Cup grant. The Commissioner's Cup grant is a $1,000 grant awarded to an athletic team to use for the purpose to give back to their community. This team of players and Coach Sweat chose special needs students as the focus of who they wanted to serve. Learning how to be kind, compassionate, and caring about one another is far more important than goals scored in a game. Coach Sweat goes above and beyond to teach his players that how they act off the field is more important than how they act on the field. We appreciate all that you've done this year, not only in coaching but in your counseling position as well. Congratulations on being our Certified Employee of the Month. And if you'll make your way around. Mr. Sweat, not quite finished. Certificate, gift card, and a keychain. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate what you do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If I have any parents that would like to take pictures, please come behind the board members and take your pictures.
So we have Brent Walleston once again, who's going to share with us 2 or 3 additional honorees. Thank you, Mr. Walleston.
Good afternoon again. You have before you Matt Hayes. Matt is a senior at Clayton High School, and Matt was selected to participate in the annual Tar Heel Cup as one of the top male golfers in eastern North Carolina. As an East team member, Matt competed against the West team a few weeks ago at the Kramer Mountain Country Club in Cramerton, North Carolina. Matt's golf coach at Clayton is Coach Steve Moats. Matt was on the 3A East Regional Men's Champion Golf Team at Clayton this past spring that finished second in the state at the 3A Golf State Championships at Longleaf and Southern Pines last month. The North Carolina High School Golf Coaches Association sponsors this event to recognize stellar senior golfers from across the state. It is golf's equivalent of the East-West All-Star Games. Matt Hayes, senior from Clayton High School. Congratulations, Matt. Ms. Reynolds, Coach Allen. At this time, we'd like to present the Hennett Cup. The Hennett Cup, a little bit of background. In honor of Mr. Dwight Hennett, JCPS Athletic Hall of Fame inductee in 2008, he's the retired associate superintendent. A trophy entitled the Hennett Cup was established to recognize the middle school that excelled throughout the year in athletic competition. Similar to the Wells Fargo Cup competition, schools earn points based on the final standings in each sport. Mr. Hennett had a keen interest in athletics and worked to provide as many athletic opportunities as possible for the students of Johnston County Public Schools. This is the 15th year of the Hennett Cup being presented. There's an annual perpetual plaque of the Hennett Cup that is kept outside my office. Today, we'd like to present the Hennett Cup to Cleveland Middle School. Miss Sarah Reynolds, principal, Coach Mark Allen, athletic director. Cleveland Middle School won this year's Hennett Cup. They won 6 conference championships in boys soccer, football, girls basketball, boys track, softball, and girls soccer. They tied for a conference championship in baseball, finished second in volleyball and boys basketball. Of the 10 middle school sports, their lowest finish was third once. Principal Sarah Reynolds and athletic director Mark Allen. This is Cleveland's 3rd time winning the Hennett Cup. Congratulations. Congratulations. At this time, I'd like to present to you a coach of the North Carolina Coaches Association East-West All-Star Girls Basketball game. The East-West All-Star Girls Basketball game will be Monday, July 16th at 6:30 p.m. in the Greensboro Coliseum. North Johnston High School varsity head girls basketball coach Jay Poole is one of the 2 coaches selected to help coach the East team. This year marks the 44th annual East-West All-Star Girls Basketball team, and Coach Poole is the first North Johnston High School coach selected to coach in the East-West All-Star games. Coach Poole, congratulations.
Our visitors, if you would like to take pictures during the presentation, please come behind the board and take pictures if you would like.
Yes, sir. No, that's fine. That way I won't get confused. At this time, I'd like to present our Johnston County Public School Middle School and High School Coaches of the Year. Coach Alan Barnes is the boys basketball and boys track coach at Archer Lodge Middle School. He has been the boys track coach since the school opened and the boys basketball coach the past 7 years. His last 2 basketball teams have won conference championships. He was nominated by his athletic director, Coach Brad Betterton, who said that Coach Barnes not only coaches teams and individuals at a championship level, but leads boys into becoming young men, and his players love playing for him. Coach Alan Barnes, our middle school coach of the year. And Coach Hunter Jinks is our varsity football coach. He's the varsity football coach and the boys track coach at Clayton High School. The Comets football team was 13-1 this year, the second best record in school history, and was the number 1 seed in the 3AA playoffs after winning the conference. Coach Jinks was named the conference's coach of the year. Coach Jinks coached over 140 boys in the football program and over 75 boys on the boys track team. Mr. Bennett Jones, his principal, who nominated him, said that Coach Jinks' leadership inside and outside the school as a coach and teacher have been invaluable in creating the culture of excellence that is associated with Clayton High School. Your high school coach of the year this year, Coach Hunter Jinks. Congratulations, Coach. If you have followed a Cleveland high school athletic event, you have probably seen or heard this man around Cleveland high school athletics. This is a presentation of the recipients of the National Federation of High Schools Network Newcomer of the Year Award. There were close to 300 new programs that were added to the National Federation of High Schools network this past year. Mr. Jeff Garner is a volunteer who leads Cleveland's effort and has put in countless hours promoting their school athletic events. Cleveland High School won the Best New Program at the National Federation of High School Network's annual awards presented on May 4th. Mr. Jeff Garner. Coach Smith, girls.
Parents, if you'd like to come behind the board to take pictures, please feel free to move around and take pictures wherever you like.
At this time, I'd like to present the recipients of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association Commissioner's Cup. The North Carolina High School Athletic Association annually presents the Commissioner's Cup to 2 school teams in each classification who identify a need within the school's community and create a plan to conduct a service project. The team creates a video of the project, and they submit that to the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. Cleveland High School's varsity and JV girls soccer teams were presented with the cup at the North Carolina High School Athletic Association's annual meeting on May 3rd. The video was created by Jacob Seaman. Girls soccer players representing the teams today are Cara Davis, Nicole DuBlois, Amaya Wall, and Casey Willie. And the varsity head coach, who you just saw a minute ago, Coach Ken Sweat, the recipients of the Commissioner's Cup of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. Congratulations.
I know we have some new parents in. Please feel free to move around and take pictures behind the board if you would like. You can come behind us and take pictures if you like.
Coach, if you'll bring your team right here, you guys can come on either side. Okay. We have 2 groups of state champions in front of you right now. Presentation of our state tennis champions. Wearing the blue shirts, Clayton High School won the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 3A Boys Dual Team Tennis Championships Saturday, May 19th, defeating Asheville High School 5-1 in Greensboro at the Piedmont Indoor Tennis Center. Team members that are here with it, team members are Banks Evans, who won the MVP of the championship match. Banks, step forward, please. Sam Jones was named to the 3A All-State team. Sam, step forward. Foster Evans was also named to the 3A All-State tennis team. Chris Riley, Jake Granger, who could not be here, senior Dylan Hyde, who won the Sportsmanship Award, Sean Ruiz, and Adam Suter, who's also here. Adam. The Comets finished the season undefeated at 19-0, and they're coached by Coach Ken Stuyvesant, who a couple of years ago was before you, I think, as the first high school coach of the year. And Coach Stuyvesant, I believe I'm correct in saying that in winning the state championship, that match was your 300th career win. Is that for the boys? 300 career wins in the state championship. Congratulations. I think only one senior in that group right there. And our last state champion, but by no means last. From Princeton High School, Shamonda Bell is a senior. She won the 1A state track championship in the 100-meter hurdles May 20th at North Carolina A&T in Greensboro with a time of 15.43 seconds. Shamonda qualified for the state championship in 4 events. She finished second in the 300-meter hurdles, third in the state in the 100-meter dash. She helped to lead the Princeton girls track team to a third-place team finish in the state championships. Shamonda's track coach at Princeton is Coach Mark McClam. Shamonda Bell, state champion from Princeton High School.
We do have a lot of new parents, so feel free to move around, come behind the board to take pictures. This boardroom is your boardroom. Thank you. Ms. Roberts.
Thank you. I believe you are all very familiar with the Duke TIP program, Duke Talent Identification Program. Perhaps this is off now. No? The Duke TIP program is Duke's Talent Identification Program recognition, and Angela Beckton, who is our Director of Advanced Learning, will tell you more.
Welcome.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, distinguished board members. Duke's 7th grade talent identification recognizes students and celebrates their academic achievement in order to instill in them pride in their accomplishments and to develop a continued love for learning. Students through Duke TIP in grades 4 through 7 have the opportunity to network with other students in things like book club and online learning activities, as well as participate sometimes in weekends. They are also invited to take the ACT or the SAT, which you know is the college entrance test for juniors and seniors in high school. Some students who participate in those tests do very well, exceptionally well. Students scoring at the 50th percentile and above compared to college-bound seniors earn state recognition. Students scoring at the 90th percentile and above compared to college-bound seniors earn state and grand recognition. And this is about 4% nationally, so that's pretty incredible. Johnston County Public Schools had 75 students to actually enroll in Duke TIP out of our 7th grade program, and 57 of those students and their parents elected for them to take the off-level testing. Many of the students who are not here today also qualified for eStudies, Academy for Summer Studies, and the Center for Summer Studies, which are great accomplishments. We're going to recognize 2 different groups today. A state recognition was held in the month of May at East Carolina University, Campbell University, and Elon University. And I'm going to call the names of those students. Finley Forcash from Archer Lodge Middle, Megan Von Haney from Archer Lodge Middle, Jacob Stemick from Clayton Middle, Jackson Durham from Four Oaks Middle, Courtney Lassiter from Four Oaks Middle, Savannah Stanley from North Johnston Middle, Amanda Adams from Riverwood Middle, Maria Anayotu from Riverwood Middle, Alexa Rio Greer from Riverwood Middle, Doug Horn from Riverwood Middle, Skylar Rayworth from Riverwood Middle, Sophia Erzy from Riverwood Middle, and Catherine Seppin from Smithfield Middle. In addition, we had 3 students in our district who qualified for state and grand recognition, which was held at Duke University. These students are from Princeton Middle High, Xander McKay, from Riverwood Middle, Amelia Linton, and from Smithfield Middle, Jude Reese. We are proud of these students, and we want to let them know that their accomplishments do not go unnoticed. While they're shaking hands, I want to say a quick thank you to our testing department and our counselors who diligently work to facilitate notifying all of our high achievement level students with the recognition, as well as our parents who make this off-level testing happen. Now, as you know, June is a culmination and a recognition culmination. Our next group is our largest group. We have nearly 50 students to be recognized from our career and technical education. Before I call Ms. Lujan back to the podium, I'll give you a bit of background. These are our Career and Technical Student Organization's first place state winners. Yes, ma'am. We're going to give the parents just a second, but I'll tell you a little bit about the Career and Technical Student Organization, which is considered an integral part of instruction in career and technical education classrooms. CTSO contributes to the attainment of curriculum competencies and are supervised by qualified and licensed CTE personnel. So Johnston County Public Schools CTSOs are affiliated with state and national organizations. With their advisors, 34 Johnston County Public Schools students have won first place at their state CTSO competitions and will travel to several states: Orlando, Florida, Nashville, Tennessee, Anaheim, California, and Louisville, Kentucky, to compete in their respective national CTSO competitions in June and July. Now, Ms. Lujan is actually going to recognize these students who are here. Yes.
If we have parents that would like to take pictures, please come behind the Board of Education here and take all the pictures you would like.
So I'm just going to read the list.
Just read the list.
And do the students just stay where they are?
They can stay where they are. Once you're done, they will start with Michelle, shake their hands, and go through the horseshoe and go out that door.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is tiny. Good afternoon again. I'm so excited to celebrate the accomplishments of these students with you guys this afternoon. I do want to tell the students that I'm going to call your names that are here and just hold tight. And then once I finish calling your name, you're going to come through and shake the hands of all of our board members. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading. We have Amber McFerrin from Corinth Holders DECA. Zachary, all of these students are from Corinth Holders DECA initially. Zachary Cass, Cameron Summers, Kayla Alsnauer, Tiziah Watkins, Sydney Barr are from Clayton High FCCLA, Amira Wright, Maya Kelly, Megan Kelly, Casey Brodus, and from West Johnston FBLA, Audrey Rentz, and West Johnson FCCLA, Paige Newsom and Jake Lamunion. And we have from Corinth Holders FBLA, Juan Lopez. And we have West Johnston FBLA, Ashley Short. And West Johnson FCCLA, Tori Massengale, Taylor Arnold. And from Corinth Holders High DECA, we have Ashley Chabot and Emma Faulkner. From Clayton High FCCLA, we have Mariah Weeks. And from West Johnston FBLA, we have Bradley Hall. From West Johnston FBLA, we also have Cheyenne Otero, Joshua Goldner, Evan Mercer. From FCCLA, Austin Newsom, Cameron Aiken, Isaac Andino, and Matthew Manella. And last but not least, Diamond Coins. And I also want to recognize our advisors that are here tonight. If you all could just kind of step forward from where you're standing. These teachers are very dedicated and give their time to these students, and I wanted to recognize them as well. And next year, I promise I will say all of their names. Because I think I could get 90%, but I'm not sure at 100, so I'll wait till I can get 100. But so appreciative of all the effort that they have given to these students and given these opportunities to go to nationals, and we've got some that are going to be representing Johnston County across the country. So thank you so much.
I would like to say that this group of students go outside of the state now and pretty much all over the country and represent Johnston County Public Schools, and they represent us proudly because a lot of them come back with first places and they place in everything that they participate in, and it excites me to share Johnston County Public Schools all over the country. So let's give them a hand.
Samantha, yes, right here. We do have DECA has already had their national competition, and we did have three first place winners.
They'll be here at the meeting because they're all underclassmen. So.
Okay, we made sure we got all the seniors here first in this one. So, okay, so thank you so much. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
I told mine to stay back to take a picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Parents, as you're coming in, if you'd like to take pictures, please come behind the board, parents or administrators or boyfriends or girlfriends. This boardroom is your boardroom. Ms. Roberts?
So our next recognition item is our character ed recognition portion of the meeting. And we will be recognizing students from Archer Lodge Middle, Clayton Middle, McGee's Crossroads Middle, Meadow School, North Johnston Middle, Princeton Middle High, Selma Middle, and Swift Creek Middle. And we'll go in alphabetical order. We'll start with Archer Lodge Middle School, where Melissa Hubbard is our principal. And we are recognizing today 8th grade student Zach Driver. And if Zach will join me at the podium, if he's here. Zach? And we want to tell you a little bit about Zach. His parents are Philip and Faith Driver. He is an involved student at Archer Lodge Middle School, to say the least, and he's shaking his head. He is a member of several clubs, including Future Farmers of America, Fellowship of Christian Students, and First Priority. He has also assisted our student ambassadors wherever they needed help. He is a leader among his peers. There is no task too small for Zach. He has an excellent rapport with all people regardless of their age. To know him is to love him. He goes above and beyond for all students and staff and does not hesitate to lend a hand, whether it is in carpool to help with traffic flow, saying morning announcements, and even helping a parent jumpstart a car that was stalled in the middle of carpool on a busy Friday afternoon. He did not hesitate to step up to say the prayer at the Meet You at the Pole event. The same allegiance he has shown to Archer Lodge Middle School is also represented in his faithfulness to his community and to his church. He is planning on attending Clayton High School for the fire science program, and other than school, Archer Lodge Fire Department would be his second home. It is with great honor that we have Zach Driver representing Archer Lodge with the character trait of loyalty. As one staff member said, it will be a much lonelier place next year without Zach. We are so proud of this loyal Gator. Ladies and gentlemen, Zach Driver. Zach, not done yet. We'd like to present you with a certificate of congratulations and a pair of headphones with our logo on it. We thank you so very much. Best wishes. Thank you. From Clayton Middle School, where Catherine Trudell is the principal, we have 8th grade student Louis Pedron. Did I pronounce that correctly? Luis. Parents' names are Mr. Antonio and Mrs. Alejandra Pedron. A little bit about Luis. He is a fantastically loyal young man. He demonstrates through all of his actions that he values his friends and family and always takes pride in school. He served on the Clayton Middle School boys soccer team this year and had a positive attitude for his team and teammates despite the win or loss. Luis also models for others how to win and lose with grace. Luis also pushes himself academically as he has pursued the most rigorous course selections available to him at Clayton Middle School. We are proud to say that Luis is a model student who teaches others about loyalty to upholding personal values while on the field, in the classroom, and throughout life. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Luis Pedron. Louise. Please accept these as a small gift of our appreciation for showing loyalty. Best wishes. Next, we have a student from McGee's Crossroads Middle School, where Dorlisa Johnson Cowart is our lead learner. The 8th grade student we're recognizing today is Madeline Avery, and if she'll join me at the podium. Hi, Madeline. Her parents' names are Matthew and Jennifer Avery. We are proud to announce Madeline Avery as our McGee's Crossroads Middle School student who shows the character trait of loyalty on a daily basis. Madeline has been an excellent student this year. She always completes her assignments on time, is actively involved in her learning, and is a peer buddy to those in class around her. She takes up for her friends when something is wrong and lets the appropriate person know when she feels someone needs additional support. Madeline is someone that her friends can count on, and her teachers know that she is always willing to give a helping hand. She is a role model to others, and we know she will be a great success in high school. She has been a joy to teach this year. We are proud to announce Madeline Avery as our McGee's Crossroads Middle School student who shows this character trait on a daily basis. Ladies and gentlemen, Madeline Avery. Madeline. They're so used to giving, they're not used to receiving. Congratulations and best wishes. You're very welcome. Next, we have 6th grade student Lane Tart, and if Lane will join me at the podium, from Meadow School, where Sonia Grice is our lead learner. Hello, Lane. Parents are Ann and Douglas Tart. Lane Tart is a very well-behaved, hard-working young man. He always takes pride in his work and all that he does at Meadow School. He shows the traits of loyalty in his interactions with his family, classmates, teachers, and other school staff in all that he does. He sets a great example for others to follow. We are very proud to select Lane Tart as our June Character Award winner for loyalty. He is, okay, so we have a little bit of a repeat there. But ladies and gentlemen, Lane Tart. Lane, congratulations. We are so very proud of you. Best wishes. You're very welcome. Our next student is Asha Jones from North Johnston Middle School, where Brian Johnson is principal. Asha or Asha? Asha. Okay. And her parents' names are Asha Jason and Christy Jones. All right. So North Johnston Middle School would like to recognize Asha Jones as exemplifying the character trait of loyalty. Asha has been an exemplary student throughout her years at North Johnston Middle School. She is known for her positive attitude, particularly when people mispronounce her name, and consistent effort in her academics. But most of all, she is a loyal and trusted classmate and friend of many at North Johnston Middle School. Asha is steadfast in her support of her friends and never hesitates to speak up for and stand by her classmates. She seeks to ensure equal opportunities and treatment for all of her peers. Additionally, Asha is part of the track team at North Johnston Middle School. She is always there to cheer on her teammates, win or lose. Asha Jones is an outstanding and model student at North Johnston Middle School who sees the best in others and strives to be her best self each day. She is more than deserving of being recognized for her continued support and loyalty to herself, peers, staff members, and North Johnston Middle School. Ladies and gentlemen, Asha Jones. And her lead learner is Mr. Brian Johnson. You're so welcome. Asha, get used to this, Asha, because this is just the beginning. Congratulations. Our next honoree is Gillian Malcolm, a 7th grade student at Princeton Middle High School, where Jarvis Ellis is our lead learner. Gillian? Her parents' names are Ryan and Christy Malcolm. Malcolm says pronounced as sounds. Okay. Princeton Middle High School recognizes Gillian Malcolm for demonstrating the character trait of loyalty. She is a top student and athlete. She pushes herself to excel in all areas of education, extracurricular activities, and her community. However, one characteristic that stands out to all of Gillian's teachers is her personality and enthusiasm. Gillian shows loyalty to her country, family, and school. Most of all, she shows loyalty to her peers, all of which she treats as friends. She loves her school and is proud to be a Bulldog. Gillian proudly wears blue and gold as she represents her school as a member of the middle school cheerleading team and track team. She shows her love for her community as she rushes the football for her Little League team and as an actress in youth theater. Gillian is such a loyal friend. She stands up for her beliefs and her friends. When reviewing so many worthy students, the one thing that really made Gillian stand out was the way she treated her peers. She is a friend to every student in her class. If someone is left out, she's the first to join that person to make sure everyone has a partner. Adolescents are not always pleasant to friends, but Gillian is. She has a smile for all. True friends are invaluable. Gillian tries to make sure that everyone finds a friend in her. Ladies and gentlemen, Gillian Malcolm. Gillian. Please accept this as a small token of our appreciation. Best wishes. Thank you. You're welcome. Our next honoree is fifth grade student Kendall Gruss from Selma Middle School, where Chris Germanowski is our lead learner. Kendall. Parent's name is Heather Gruss. Come right on, don't be shy. They won't bite. All right, let me tell you a little bit about Kendall. Kendall was a new student to Selma Middle School this year. As we know, transitions can be difficult for any child. Not everyone can handle the stress and confusion of moving to a new school and doing so with grace. I want you to get a little closer because the camera is there. We want everybody to see you. This student not only brought a ray of sunshine into Selma Middle, but did so while facing other obstacles. When looking for a student who exemplifies loyalty, we want to choose someone who cares for all people. Kendall is one of those students who can also always be found offering a kind word to others, whether they be a friend or a staff member. She is supportive of everyone she meets. Kendall is willing to speak up for others and is a champion for what she believes is right. She supports the efforts of the school mission and vision, and through her actions is loyal to her school family. Her passion for kindness to others shines through on a daily basis. She remains positive in spite of adversity, and she never lets another person diminish her value. She holds her head high and shines light on the world around her. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce Kendall Gruss. We got a smile and a dimple. I love it. And last but certainly not least, we have 8th grade student Jasmine George from Swift Creek Middle School, where Carrie Evans is our lead learner. Jasmine? Hello, Jasmine. Parent's name is Vivian George, and we'll tell you a little bit about Jasmine. Jasmine is a great student. She works hard in class and encourages her classmates to do their best. She is funny, outgoing, and fiercely loyal to her friends. Jasmine is always looking out for her friends. Can I be your friend? She makes sure they can borrow her notes when they are out and will catch them up on anything they might have missed in class. Jasmine is the first person to stand up for others. She makes sure that her classmates have everything they need to succeed. This can be seen in and out of the classroom. Sounds like a future teacher to me. Jasmine is also loyal to her country. She stands for the pledge and says it loudly for her classmates to follow along. She is always the first to stand. Even on the mornings everyone is a little tired. Jasmine's loyalty stretches out and affects her classmates. I noticed her friends and the students around her are more likely to help others and stand up for their friends. I have enjoyed, this is from her principal, I have enjoyed having from her teacher, having Jasmine in her class, and I will miss her sweet spirit next year. Ladies and gentlemen, Jasmine George. I just want to let Mr. Vetrano know that if he wants to sign her up earlier, Mom says she wants to be a psychologist, actually, so. So Jasmine, thank you so much and best wishes. Our final item this afternoon is our Summer Ventures honorees, or our Summer Ventures honorees. My dad would not be happy to hear that subject-verb disagreement. So I'll tell you a bit about Summer Ventures. Summer Ventures is a component of the North Carolina School of Science and Math, open to rising North Carolina juniors and seniors. The free state-funded program encourages the exploration of science, math, and technology. Johnston County Public Schools is proud to announce the students who have applied and who have been accepted into this prestigious program. Now, one thing we found when we were looking for our Summer Ventures students is that this is a self-report. And so although we reached out to the counselors, there are some students, we do know we have students from these schools, but there are some students who did not self-report, so we don't have their names. But we have with us two gentlemen, and if you'll just join me at the podium. And what I'd like for you to do is tell the board members your names and what school you attend.
My name is Marshall Morgan, and I go to Concentrators High School.
My name is Nathan Kaiser, and I go to Smithfield Selma High School.
Okay. All right. So I wanted them to introduce themselves, and we are so very proud of them for having been chosen for Summer Ventures. And so I want to introduce again Mr. Noah Kaiser and, what did you say?
Marshall Morgan.
And Marshall Morgan. Ladies and gentlemen. Just shake their hands out here. Just shake their hands. Congratulations. This concludes our recognitions.
Okay, 5-minute break.
Ms. Roberts, I don't know how many people came through, but I don't know what it was like out there, but smooth, seamless in here. Thank you, and we appreciate it.
to have a separate motion that declares sole source, then they vote on the contract.
Okay, I'll defer to you during when I get to that section.
I can take care of that.
Yay, I'm excited. It's my 10th item. It's not the first one, it's my 10th. I should have it together by then. Oh. Don't worry about myself. God bless America. Now, Butler. Yeah, when you got 10 items ahead, yeah.
Just before Ms. Gill re-engages, the pre-apprentice program at Caterpillar was doing their recognition tonight, and that's something that we all usually get invited and do go to. But since we moved the board meeting, we were unable to go, but I did ask Dr. Price to attend in our stead. So we are being represented at the pre-apprentice awards program tonight. So just so you'll know where he is at and why he's not sitting over there.
We'll reconvene the meeting and we'll welcome Dolores Gill.
Good afternoon, Chairman Wooten, Lady Vice Chair Johnson, members of the board, Superintendent Renfro, and Jimmy Lawrence. It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon, and I have 10 items for you today. 5 of those are for action. 5 of those are for information. The first item is Board Exhibit 6E1, Policy Code 3520, our school improvement team. And this policy has been revised to incorporate language from its corresponding regulation, and it clarifies the roles and responsibilities of our school improvement teams. The references to any outdated compliance requirements have been removed, and any outdated statutes have also been deleted. The revisions reflect a focus on our continuous improvement process, which now guides all of our school improvement plans. These revisions will bring the policy into alignment with our JCPS continuous improvement focus. Upon the recommendation of Policy Review Committee and our Academic Innovation Department, Policy 3520 is presented today for approval.
This is an action item, Policy 3520, School Improvement Team. Entertain a motion. Motion by Teresa Grant, seconded by Butler Hall. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Our next item is Board Exhibit 6E2, Policy Code 3525, which involves our professional learning communities. Policy Code 3525 was amended in 2010, but it has been updated now to remove any outdated compliance requirements. It also reflects a focus on wildly important goals in clarifying our missions within our PLCs. And these revisions allow our PLCs freedom from outdated compliance rules, and it fosters innovation and engagement. And upon the recommendation of Policy Review Committee and Academic Information, Policy 3525 is presented today for approval.
Policy 3525, Professional Learning Communities. Entertain a motion. Motion by Todd Sutton, second by Butler Hall. Any questions?
I just want to assure that professional learning communities are not an option. And for someone who has not read the policies, that might be construed as just cleaning it up and removing some regulations. But I do want it understood that teachers are expected to participate in their professional learning communities.
Yes, I agree. And it was actually a policy that was put into place in 2010. So it is a long-standing expectation in Johnston County Public Schools. But we also just wanted to align some of our language to further their work in the professional learning communities. The next item.
Any other questions? Excuse me, Ms. Gill. Those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, Ms. Gill.
Next item is Board Exhibit 6E3, Policy Code 5100, Code of Ethics and Standard of Conduct. Policy 5100, Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, was adopted in 1999, and it's been revised to include the language which requires employees to notify Human Resources when they have been charged or convicted with a crime other than a minor traffic offense. And revisions to this policy will require self-reporting of charges and convictions by employees in accordance with the Johnston County Board of Education Standards of Employment Conduct. Upon the recommendation of Policy Review Committee and our Human Resources Department, this policy is presented today as information as a first reading.
Policy 5100, Code of Ethics. Any questions? Okay, Ms. Gill. Yes, sir.
In the titling? In the title of the actual policy. I think that would give it further clarification.
I would defer to our board members that serve on policy review. If they feel that would be appropriate, I would defer to them.
We will.
Can they make that change and then we vote it for the action? Okay.
I'm hearing that there is another policy on volunteers and those specific procedures. Wanting to know about the self-reporting piece for any criminal.
So there's another policy that also requires any applicants, in addition to employees, to self-report. For our volunteers, we have ongoing daily checks, and so if any of our volunteers are charged with anything other than a minor traffic offense, we're aware of it. Is that the question? Absolutely.
So take note of the change, the recommended change for next month, right?
It's.
Yes.
But it's for information this time, so I'll be bringing it back for approval next month.
I just want to make sure that we could vote on it next month. Okay. Okay, Ms. Gill.
The next item is Board Exhibit 6E4, Policy Code 2021, Title I, Parent Involvement. Policy Code 2021, Title I, Parent Involvement was updated in 2005. However, we've had to eliminate the language and the requirements from No Child Left Behind from 2001. It's been reworked to incorporate the language from the Every Student Succeeds Act of 2015 and the new title policy for family and parent and family engagement reflects the inclusive nature of Every Student Succeeds Act. And so these revisions will bring this policy up to date, and it provides new standards for parent and family engagement for Title I schools and other schools. Upon the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee, this policy is presented today for information.
Policy 6510, transportation. Any questions? Excuse me. I've already put a check mark beside policy. Policy 2021, Title I, Parent and Family Engagement. Any questions before we move on? Now let's move on to 6510, transportation.
Yes, the next item, Board Exhibit 6E5, Policy Code 6510, which is transportation for instructional field trips and extracurricular activities. This policy was last amended in 2017. Recommended revisions includes incorporating language to address when small groups travel for field trips and extracurricular activities, and language to allow duly enrolled virtual students to use their private vehicles or drive themselves to extracurricular activities with written approval from the principal. The language has also been added to prohibit the use of passenger vans for small group field trips or extracurricular activities. And what we will be saying is the use of a bus rather than a van for the safety of the students. And then if there is the need to use any private vehicles, it would require the written approval from the principal. These revisions will provide some guidance for our administrators when they're considering small group travel and the participation of duly enrolled or virtual students when engaging in field trips and extracurricular activities. And this policy is presented from our Transportation Department as well as Policy Review, and it's presented today for information.
Any questions on policy 6510?
Just one. When a student gets parent permission to go on a field trip, the parent has to approve that student driving.
Yes, but the principal then has to be made aware that all of those pieces are in place and approve it.
The principal has to add the second layer of approval.
Right, and they may actually say we prefer everybody to go into the small group transportation mode, which would be the bus.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Gill?
The next item is Board Exhibit 6E6, Policy Code 6000 for purchasing. Policy Code 6000 was last updated in April of 2004, and it's been updated to incorporate relevant parts of Policy 6010 in order to accurately reflect our compliance with the Uniform Guidance Procurement Law. Revisions to Policy Code 6000 include a name change to be called Purchasing and Contracts, as well as language specifically documenting the use of our new contract administration sheet and directives regarding how to purchase using the Uniform Guidance Procurement Law, which goes into effect July 1 of 2018. In conjunction with the revision of this policy, Policy 6010 will be deleted and replaced with 6000 for purchasing. So we'll be taking out a policy and then we are converging to and adding the language about the Uniform Guidance Procurement Law, which we have to address before July 1. And we have also used this opportunity to be able to document when we're doing those uniform guidance procurement, as well as other contracts, to make sure that using this new sheet that's been given to us by legal counsel, we'll be able to account for all of our contracts and make sure they go through a process of, through Mr. Stanley, through our board chair, through our attorney, and making sure that process is clean, and then a place for those to be housed in one location so that regardless of the department, we will be able to have an opportunity to have all those in one place. Many departments keep their contracts on their own in their particular parts, but we would still need the final main copy to be housed here in our main building. We've been working through those procedures over the past month to get those cleaned up. So that's presented to you today for information. I'll defer to you.
So I entertain a motion to suspend the rules and make this policy come into effect July 1st for policy 6,000 and deletion to policy 6010. Entertain a motion. Who made the motion? Dr. Smith made the motion. Ronald Johnston seconded. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Then, yes, for August, correct? Thank you. The next item is Board Exhibit 6E7, School Nutrition Community Eligibility Provision. The Community Eligibility Provision, referred to as CEP, for our National School Lunch Program provides an alternative to household applications for free and reduced price meals for economically disadvantaged students. 4 of our schools are eligible to participate in this program next year, which would be Selma Elementary, Selma Middle, South Smithfield Elementary, and West Smithfield Elementary. This provision does hold a 4-year requirement to participate with no change in percentage of eligibility. All students at these sites will be given free breakfast and free lunch. The federal government will reimburse school nutrition for all meals served to these students. And we'd like for you to consider the advantage of these free meals for the schools. I have with me today Ms. Dana Edwards, who's our Director of School Nutrition, who has worked tirelessly to begin to investigate this option for our schools. And then we have asked, and it wasn't hard to have her here, Ms. Sharon Bryant, to share just a couple of things about her enthusiasm for this. And we bring it to you for information, but there will be some information about getting this out to those schools, and the principals are aware, but we wanted to bring you just a bit more information as we work through the summer. Ms. Edwards and Ms. Bryant, you want to come up and talk about how excited you are about this?
Well, from our office standpoint, we're very excited about this. We think it's going to be something really good for all of the students there, and especially the staff. It's just something we've been wanting for some time. It just hasn't worked out, for the percentage-wise in previous years. So luckily, we've got a few schools we can start with and group those together and hopefully move forward with more as it comes. Thank you.
And I'm just ecstatic when I received the email from Dana the other day. We have worked hard this year. Although our percentage is 91% of our students receive free or reduced lunch, what we know is this: it's really higher than that. But we have some parents, for some reason, whatever it may be, they're just not able to get the form complete. We have some parents who are fearful of completing the forms. And we have had this year a lot of community support, retired teachers and staff who put funds into what we call a Silent Partners Fund. And we've used a lot of funds out of that fund this year because we don't want to ask those parents to pay for those meals because we really know that they can't afford to. But we're not going to deny the kids a meal to eat lunch or for breakfast. So for us, we are extremely ecstatic about the opportunity for our students, our total population, to have free and reduced lunch next year. So I want to thank Ms. Edwards and her team for the work that they've done to make sure that this could happen for our school, and not just our school, but the other 4 schools in the Smithfield community. I thank you all as well, because the need is there. You have to live it, to understand it, to see it every day, but it is there for our kids. They need it, we need it, and it will help our school in more than one way. So now those funds that we use in Silent Partners to pay for those lunches, we can also, when kids break their glasses, we use those funds because sometimes Medicare doesn't pay for more than one pair. We can now flip those funds for other things that they may need to get through the school year. So we are super excited, and we just want to humbly say we thank you, Dana, your shop, for what you've done to make this happen. My staff didn't know until they just knew. They were trying to figure out, well, what do you have to go to the meeting for? And I just didn't want to tell them. But we're just very grateful, and we're very thankful. So thank you.
That's awesome. Any more questions?
Yeah, and I'd like to thank Dana in School Nutrition, who goes above and beyond and looks at all the programs that are offered through the Department of Public Instruction, the federal government, to make sure that we're getting everything for our district that we possibly can. So thank you to her. Just a great level of effectiveness. Thank you. The next item that I have is Board Exhibit 6E8, our school nutrition milk bid for 2018 and 19. School Nutrition issued a bid for milk for all students. The bid document was given to 3 companies. A legal advertisement was published in the classified section of the News and Observer. And on May 22nd, 2018, at 9 a.m., our bids were received by 2 companies and opened with a representative present. The bid period begins July 1, 2018 through June 30, 2019. School Nutrition recommends that Pet Dairy be awarded the milk bid due to the lowest price. And that is presented to you today for action.
This is an action item for school nutrition milk bid 2018-19. Entertain a motion. Motion by Teresa Grant, second by Mr. Johnston. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
The next item is Board Exhibit 6E9, Declaration of Cooper Academy Property Surplus. An approximately 7-acre parcel of the Cooper Academy property abuts a proposed development in the Cooper Academy neighborhood. The Policy Review Committee has reviewed this site and has recommended that the land be declared surplus pursuant to statute. And pursuant to the Johnston County Board of Education Policy 6200.1, real property owned by the board and deemed no longer necessary for public school purchases may be declared surplus and offered to the county commissioners for purchase. I will add that I'd like to defer that over to our legal counsel for further information about that piece of property. Yes. I would also add that Mr. Brooks also met with the developer and with Ms. Flores to get their input on the design and redesign of the actual circle drive, and Mr. Moore will be getting us some information along with Ms. Flores exactly what that would look like, but it is looking like more of a circular drive at the end, but they have agreed to work with us on that, and that is in process if you approve this today. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mhm. So this item is presented today for your approval.
And I would ask the board.
That's fine. Entertain, I guess Ms. Dorothy has the motion for the declaration of Cooper Academy property surplus with our attorney drawing up a contract. Entertain a second. Second by Ronald Johnston. Any other questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
The final item that I have for you this afternoon is Board Exhibit 6E10, Lightspeed Content Filtering Contract, a 3-year annual payment of $157,080. The power of the internet for teaching and learning is indisputable. However, it can be a dangerous place. The Children's Internet Protection Act serves as a means to protect our students and K-12 students in schools and libraries that receive federal E-rate funding. So we have to have a contract in place to help us to filter content. We have currently been using iBoss, which terminates July 1, 2018. The renewal with iBoss is not an option because it's no longer adequate for our size and for the internet traffic that we receive in Johnston County Public Schools. The Technology Services has attempted to bid this to other companies. However, other vendors were not able to meet the needs of our network and our traffic and comply with our compatibility standards. JCSPS proposes to contract with Lightspeed for our filtering and monitoring services rather than iBoss, but Lightspeed is essentially a sole source vendor since it's the only vendor that will meet our compatibility needs. This service will provide us a higher level of filtering and blocking capabilities, more advanced image and video filtering, a classroom filtering and management tool for teachers, and a threat check to detect behavioral patterns related to violence and bullying, self-harm, and threats. And it also will provide off-site filtering for our take-home devices. It partners with schools to make our learning more safe and comply with our laws. And the Administration Operation Department recommends to establish this 3-year contract, but I would like to turn it over to Mr. Lawrence right now because since it is a sole source, we do need to take an additional action. Mr. Lawrence?
All the services that we need to comply with federal law. No other company out there does it. So that's why the language is in your exhibit sheet, that it's a sole source contract. The statute says that before you approve the contract, the board must vote on this being a sole source contract. That's what I would ask that you do first of all, to declare it a sole source contract, and then you can proceed to vote on the contract.
So this is an action item on content filtering contract terms of service, and we're voting on a sole source service contract for this content filtering contract. So the motion is on the table.
I would ask.
Entertain
I would ask that the first motion be that it be declared a sole.
Okay. All right. We'll declare that the content filtering contract is a sole source contract. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Butler Hall, second by Ronald Johnson. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Now we'll vote on the content filtering contract itself. I entertain a motion. Motion by Ronald Johnson. Second by Butler Hall. Any questions?
I have a Question, not that it'll change this, because I know the other company can't do it, but what were we paying the other company for their service?
I do not know the answer to that question. I'll have to find that out for you.
I had a question about, you said that it would also filter devices that were taken home. Those are our devices.
Yes.
We have no filtering authority over bring your own device, right?
I don't know the answer to that question, except when they're on
Yeah.
our guest Wi-Fi. we
Yeah,
would.
if they can bring, if you'll permit me, Ms. Gill.
Indeed.
Anytime a student brings a device from home and it connects to our network, it is filtered.
So if they have a hotspot and it's not connected to our network, it
No
doesn't do
filter.
anything?
Right.
Okay. So is there any way that we can not allow them to hook to their private hotspots, that we can say they must hook into our network?
Well, we can mandate it. We can create a policy for it. But now, these they're very smart. And I'm not saying that John Ross Renfro would be sitting at Archer Lodge Middle School tomorrow, but he would know how to create his phone to be a hotspot, and he would be playing that Fortnite game or something, and like they all do. But we can take steps and put it in a policy, and they know the expectation is not to do that. But if we need to take any kind of formal action with policy review, I'm sure Ms. Gill would facilitate that.
Sure, absolutely.
Ms. Gill, after you finish here, if we can track down Ms. Turnage and find an answer to Ms. Grant's question, I'm sure she's got knowledge of it. We try and get that as soon as possible, but, yes,
It won't
ma'am.
change the vote, just curious what the increase is going to be from last year's budget to next year's.
Yes.
So we have a motion on the table for content filtering contract. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
That is all I have with my 10 items today.
Thank you,
sir.
Ms. Gill. You did very well. We do not have a July board meeting, so happy vacation to some of the board members. There are some meetings, but we will have an August board meeting, and that date is Tuesday, August the 14th, 2018 at 2 p.m. Dr. Renfro.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, correct. Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd ask that we enter into executive session for the purpose of consulting with our board attorney, our esteemed board attorney, and discuss personnel items in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 115C-319 and 143.318.3.11, subsections A1 and A3.
Entertain a motion. Motion by Butler Hall, seconded by Todd Sutton. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.